Welcome to Supply Chain Partners TV and podcast, where we discuss innovative services and strategies delivered by our members at Supply Chain Partners. Our members can help you to build a high-performing business and supply chain. I'm Dr. Sharyn Grant, the founder of Supply Chain Partners. I've worked within the logistics and supply chain management field for over 20 years, and I specialise in strategic supply chain performance management. Let's now introduce you to our member. With us today is Mark Hackett, the Managing Director of CargoOffice. CargoOffice is a web-based freight management system that streamlines the operations of road transport companies from online orders to consignment notes, vehicle allocations and deliveries. Welcome, Mark. Thanks for being with us today.
Thanks, Sharyn. It's great to be here.
Today's episode is about simplifying freight management in the road freight transport industry with CargoOffice. The road freight transport industry includes industry operators that primarily transport freight by road. I recently read that the growth of road freight volumes has allowed road transport companies in Australia to avoid an economic downturn. Mark, could you please describe the road freight transport industry in Australia?
Sure. The road freight transport industry in Australia has certainly seen some challenges of late. The road freight transport industry in Australia is quite large, 65 billion in sort of total size. There's around 60,000 companies in Australia and they employ around 150,000 people. So it's really big and it's growing, especially these last few years. We've seen a lot more people using transport rather than heading out of the house, which they can't do a lot of the time. We predominantly deal with customers that do container transport. They're moving freight from ports, breaking containers down, and then also obviously returning containers and things like that. Palletized freight, heavy haulage. So there's sort of bulk, liquids, a lot to do with sort of civil type operations. It's very diverse and very different equipment types and different requirements for these companies. And we've been able to adapt CargoOffice in a lot of ways to be able to help these different road freight still, but a lot of specific changes that they've needed to make it work.
Thanks, Mark. It's definitely a massive industry and it's exciting to learn that strong growth is expected. The management of freight at road transport companies is definitely a significant undertaking. Mark, could you please explain the typical freight management activities conducted by road transport companies and any challenges associated with these activities?
Yeah, sure. So again, it depends a lot on the type of work that they're doing, but generally there are common things that people are doing. Basically order entry, getting the information about a consignment. So whether that be typically someone calling on the phone or entering it, sending a con note or something like that. So with CargoOffice, we allow data to be entered into it by the customer or by the transport company. There's the operations that then they do with that. So their planning of capacity and things like that. Allocation to vehicles. We handle also from the mobile side of it. So for their drivers to be able to see the work they've got, to be able to plan that out and provide status updates. So when consignment's been picked up or delivered, or if there's any problems with them, that type of thing. And when they're doing that, it's basically changing the status of a job, and we use that to automate communication with customers. So that's another big thing that is obviously keeping our customers informed of what's happening with their work. So any delays in this sort of thing can be frustrating for all people in the supply chain. So being able to automate that is always beneficial for everybody. Similarly, the invoicing and things like that. So we allow jobs to be automatically priced based on certain criteria and things like that. And then it can be sent through to their accounting systems. One of the big problems is sort of these delays in payment. Sometimes the payment terms can be a big sort of thing that people struggle with. And so obviously the sooner you can get an invoice out for a completed job, the sooner that you can get paid for it. So there's quite a few activities that are common, but then also, say, working with ports and things like that is booking vehicles in to be able to collect containers or drop off full containers and things like that. So there's all of that, everything with the ports and the shipping lines and that sort of stuff that needs to be coordinated. Another example is, say, heavy haulage, where there's pilots and escorts and things like that need to be organised. So coordination with police and other organisations, that can be challenging. Another huge advantage of using a system, obviously CargoOffice can do it, but of any system is integration with other parties. So accounting systems or customers systems or other third-party systems they need to talk to. So having that automated can be a huge benefit for a lot of, and it certainly is for a lot of our customers.
Thanks, Mark. You've definitely highlighted many challenges associated with freight management activities at road transport companies. I'm keen to understand how your clients have overcome these challenges. Mark, could you please provide one or two real-life client examples regarding how CargoOffice has helped your clients to overcome challenges with freight management?
Yeah, sure. One of our clients has undertaken quite a large growth that opened depots into pretty much all the states of Australia. One of the benefits that we've had is CargoOffice being a SaaS product is that there's no real setup, there's no equipment to buy or anything like that. So they just need a computer with an internet connection and they can jump in and be productive straight away. So I guess that's sort of one of the things what I alluded to earlier, which is pretty common across all of our clients, is automation of like sort of notifications and messaging. Customers really appreciate being informed ahead of the time. So it helps our customers by them not having to field a whole lot of calls and things, inquiries about their jobs, because they're being proactive and letting the customers know what the status of a particular job. And when using the system, the actions that the drivers have to do, things like that they don't have to think about, oh, I need to let this customer know. They can just get on with their job, and the notifications are all preset behind the scenes and automated. So that's a way that can, be very beneficial. And automatically pricing jobs. So especially as volumes increase, it's hard to just go through and, there's different conditions for different customers. You'll have different sort of rate cards and these types of things. So automating that is a huge benefit, and that only is more beneficial as volumes increase. Another probably example for a different customer, integration with ports software. So one stop predominantly in this case. And so rather than the customer having to sort of look up all this information manually and then entering it into the system and updating the statuses and things like that, we're pulling this data, real time from these other systems. So this is one of those where integration can really save a lot of effort. There can be a fair bit of work, and there generally is a fair bit of work to set it up to start with, but the benefits outweigh the efforts required.
Thanks, Mark. What have been some of the key lessons you have learned that could help your future clients?
So it's probably helpful just in general terms, so not even just particularly transport, but being able to sort of step back and think about the project completely and to dedicate resources to it. Again, I know it's hard when you've got your business and you're running it day to day to actually set aside time for these sorts of projects, but it's so beneficial to spend the effort and time now to get it right, rather than rush into something and realize it's not exactly what you need and having to change things sort of as you go. So again, spending that time to research exactly what you need and get it right will certainly pay dividends in the future. Additionally, just things like certainly reducing debtor days. So getting your invoices out faster, getting paid sooner is always going to be a benefit. Reporting to customers and even internally, so that the information is easily found and digested, so everyone can understand exactly what is required and sort of what's happening, is pretty critical in making sure that everything will run smoothly.
Thanks, Mark. Could you please explain how CargoOffice works?
Sure. Yeah. So CargoOffice is a web-based product. So again, you just need a browser with an internet connection. So it doesn't matter, it can be Windows or Apple. It's sort of platform agnostic. And your customers can have access. And this is sometimes hard, but is definitely a benefit to get your customers to actually use the system, because they can do the data entry for you. They can also sort of self-serve as far as looking at the status of jobs and things like that, again, to reduce the load on you and your staff from having to field calls and that type of thing from your customers. Integration and EDI are a huge part and becoming more and more important. So that can be from your customers pushing data, sort of shipment information into jobs into the system, and then also us pushing status updates, PODs, those types of things back out to the customer's system. So it has the benefit, particularly as well, of, I guess, sort of locking in that customer. Once they've gone through the effort of doing this integration, they're more willing to stay with you. So there's this sort of slightly less tangible benefit from the operation. Day to day, we're seeing so much more of it. There's huge demands. People are wanting this sort of stuff so that they can get the information in real time. Invoicing. So again, this is similar to integration. So typically we quite tightly integrate with MyOb and Xero. plus a few other accounting systems and a few bespoke ones for different customers as well. So the benefit there is as soon as your driver collects a POD and marks a job as done, that invoice can be raised straight away and sent to the customer. So it's not waiting till the end of the week to raise an invoice and then, a month, 2 months or whatever for your customer to pay it. We can try and reduce that time and help with cash flow as quickly as possible. Automating communication is beneficial, both making the business look more professional, but also reducing workload on your staff so that they can continue on with the other work that are more beneficial. And technically how CargoOffice works, so we run on the Google Cloud platform. So, enterprise grade servers, they're hosted in Australia. So we have a good performance. We always, well over provision the servers, so they're responsive and we have plenty of redundancy. And more recently, we've done a native app versions of our mobile app. So we have an Android and an iOS version. And the benefit that we've got, and really the main reason for this is for tracking, GPS tracking. So one of the big differences versus, say, your Navmans and things like that is obviously we're tracking a phone rather than a piece of equipment that needs to be installed in a vehicle. So we can track subcontractors and things like that. One of the things that you normally can't do with those big install type systems.
Thanks, Mark. You've mentioned that your clients achieve greater benefits from CargoOffice by integrating with everyone in the supply chain. Could you please explain the integration options available?
Sure, yeah. So an accounting system like MyOb and Xero, we do Reckon, the on-premise version of Reckon, and also Reckon One, their cloud version. QuickBooks Online. So these are a few of the just sort of off-the-shelf accounting systems that we integrate with. Then I guess third-party systems like Container Chain, One Stop, CargoWise, SAP, so some other systems. So these might be like, again, your third-party systems or customers' systems that we can connect with. And we also have a range of carriers that we have integrated with their systems, such as BFS, Toll, K&N. So we have quite a few carriers. So if you use those carriers, we can quickly connect to them. And one of the big benefits of that, especially if you're doing work for these as a subcontractor for some of these big carriers and you're using their devices or something like that. So you might have your drivers take 3 different devices with them to do the different work for the day. We can consolidate that all together by doing that integration. They just use the CargoOffice app to update the status of the jobs, and behind the scenes, we're then taking that information and pushing it back out to the different carriers. So even that simplifying the jobs for the drivers, giving them a consistent interface to work with, so they're not having to deal with multiple devices and making sure they're charged and all those sorts of things, can bring huge efficiencies for staff.
Thanks, Mark. That's very impressive. I'm sure your clients are extremely happy with having such an extensive range of integration options. Mark, what are the next steps a client should take if they would like to find out more about CargoOffice?
We'd definitely love to have a chat. What we can do is we can do an online demonstration. Depending on where you're located, we can do in-person demonstrations as well. But yeah, I guess the way things have been the last couple of years, we've relied a lot more on technology for delivering these types of online demonstrations. So you can head to our website at just cargooffice.com.au, and there's a link on there to arrange a demonstration. You can, of course, review the information on there and see a bit more about what we've been talking about. Our phone number is also on our website, and they can also email us at sales@cargooffice.com.au. So head to our website is the easiest way and check it out, and you can organise a demo there.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Mark, for joining us today from CargoOffice.
Thank you, Sharyn. Yeah, no, it's been great to talk to you. We have more testimonials and information on our website. So for your viewers, it'd be great for them to check that out. We would love to be able to help them out and make their businesses more profitable and easier to operate.
Thanks, Mark. Well, that concludes today's episode on simplifying freight management in the road freight transport industry with CargoOffice. You will find all of their contact details listed below. So join us again at Supply Chain Partners TV and podcast, where we meet with experts to discuss key business and supply chain issues, topics and trends, including logistics, supply chain management, technology, and much more. Be sure to click the subscribe button to this Supply Chain Partners channel. We look forward to you joining us again in a future episode.